discuss the state of play, whether Bobby's going to get through, what it means for the other two, and what it tells us about the state of play. For this, two better of minds who do not see the world the same way, but see it well. Author and journalist Bill O'Reilly, host of the Stephen A. Smith Show. Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A., I don't know if you heard this today because you got 155 jobs, but Bill O'Reilly said, I don't know that Bobby's going to get through it, and I don't think I would vote for him to be confirmed. Bill O'Reilly, do I have it right? And if so, why?
Well, I was wrong about Hegseth, but just by a millisecond, because Tillis, the senator from North Carolina, was going to vote against him, but then they put the arm on him, and Tillis shifted, so it was a tie, and Vance broke the tie.
Vance.
On Bobby Kennedy Jr., if he gets confirmed, this will confirm to me that Donald Trump is the most powerful new president in history by a wide margin, because he is not qualified to do this job. And I agree with Kennedy on the nutrition aspect. In fact, if I were the president, I would just appoint him to be Minister of Nutrition, Nutrition Czar, because he's absolutely right. The food is killing this country and leading to medical problems, particularly for elderly people, that are bankrupting us. Kennedy's right on it. But he's a conspiracy guy. He believes what he wants to believe. I know him a little bit. I called him about his father's assassination. He's convinced Saran didn't do it. There are 6 eyewitnesses. It's just ridiculous. But that's what Bobby wants to believe. Lupus, on and on and on and on. So I'm an old school guy. You got to prove yourself to get power. And Bobby Kennedy has not come close to proving himself to me.
Stephen A., the president wants him, though.
Yeah, the president wants him, and I got to tell you, I think Bill is right. If President Trump pulls this off and RFK Jr. gets confirmed, he can make an argument that he's the most powerful president we've seen, arguably, in our lifetime. Because when you look at him up on Capitol Hill, I'm talking about RFK Jr. here, you certainly side with him when it comes to the issues of processed foods. I think that even though he was an anti-vaccine guy, we've seen a plethora of individuals come out in the open and acknowledge that they were anti-vaccine individuals. So it's not that far gone, as at least the way that it once was. Then you saw the Biden administration pardon Anthony Fauci before leaving out of the White House. There are people that will look at that and say there's some level of culpability that may exist because of that action alone. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but certainly people will think that way. But the reason why I'm siding with Bill O'Reilly on this particular instance is because he was up there on Capitol Hill and, you know, he was challenged. He was challenged on issues in regards to abortion. He was challenged on issues in regards to Medicare. He was challenged on the level of consistency that he appeared to lack, along with being a conspiracy theorist. And then he said, I'm going to serve at the pleasure of the president. Well, that's nice for Republicans to co-sign on. They certainly would. But keep in mind, this is a man that is perceived as being a Democrat. He was willing to run as an independent. On the town hall special that you did, Chris Cuomo, with myself, as I had the pleasure of sitting next to the one and only Bill O'Reilly that night, he acknowledged that if the Democrats didn't get in his way and they gave him a fair shot to compete with Biden for the presidency, he would have been a Democrat. And so you have people up on Capitol Hill that's determined to be against him because they view him as a turncoat. You have Trump supporters who want to support him because they know that's what Trump will want. And if he ends up getting confirmed, it will be because of that reason. And if he ends up not getting confirmed, it'll be because there are others that lean towards his inconsistencies and view that as a lack of trust for him to be the head of HHS. And so that's the way that it is. I think Bill O'Reilly is right on point, and I usually don't like saying that, but I must concede when necessary.
Well, listen, I get you guys. I don't
but it
agree.
makes you a better...
We'll take a break. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to tell Stephen that agreeing with me makes you a better person. You see, this isn't just a news program. We're here to elevate your personhood. And when you say Bill O'Reilly is right, that strengthens you in almost every way, Stephen A. So
I don't know.
It's a big win for you
Stephen A. I got to
so
tell you,
far.
Every time I agree with him, I get a rash. I get a rash every time. I've gotten a rash, and it's not easy to get rid of. I got a cream and a pill I can send you, but it's not great. I will tell you, look, I see one part of this completely the reverse, which is if Bobby gets through, I don't think it's because Trump is strong. I just think it's that the fealty system of these parties has become so weak and that these people stand for no principle but advantage. Because, look, either what Bill is saying is right, which is this guy doesn't even come close. Neither did Hegseth. At least this guy has experience suing people in this business on these policy levels. Hegseth didn't even have that. So his credentials are bad. Bill might argue, okay, so was the other guys, and he got through. But I think that there's one other piece to this that we'll discuss. Let's take a break. There's one other piece, and then I want to get into what it means about how we see what's happening. How is Trump doing in terms of fixing for the country? The hype of it versus how much he's doing to help. Please stay with me. It's great to have you both, as always. The rash, though, Stephen A., it starts like over here. It can come all the way around the back of your neck. It makes things taste funny. I'll tell you about it in the break.
There's a vaccine for that, Cuomo.
I wouldn't know.
No, they're not safe and
There's
effective.
a vaccine, Cuomo, and Bobby
They're not
Kennedy.
safe and effective.
Yeah, Bobby Kennedy will get it for you.
You a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions of powerful interests. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer, and now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it.
So I think that when it comes to the conspiracy stuff, as I am joined again by Bill O'Reilly and Stephen A. Smith, I think one of the biggest obstacles, Bill, and you tell me what your feel is on this from Trump land, and Stephen, you bounce off that Trump doesn't want to be held to the standard of his crazy anymore. He's in legacy mode. And Bobby does drag him into that place. And what I hear from people around Trump that concerns them with senators is he represents, in some ways, like the conspiracies, what they like about Trump least. And the question is, do they judge Bobby in a way they can't judge Trump and ding him as a nod to putting down conspiracy crazy?
This might make your rash feel better, but the point that you made in your monologue, which was, I think, about an hour and 20 minutes, was that these senators, they don't really care, all right, about Bobby Kennedy sitting there. Bobby Kennedy is as far away from their sphere of caring as I am or Stephen A. is right. They just don't care. Everybody knows that Donald Trump's White House, his guys, will call all the shots. Bobby Kennedy admitted it in his hearing day. He said, look, whatever they tell me to do, I'm going to do. All right? So he does not have any power. He's not going to be able to do anything unilaterally at all. And so you either vote for him because you don't want to tee off Trump, which what most of the Republicans will do, or you hate Trump, most of the Democrats do, so you vote against him. It all comes back to Trump. Everything comes back to him. Bobby Kennedy could be a cardboard cutout there. He doesn't matter to the country. And I'm, as I said, an old school guy. That offends me. I want the best and the brightest, but it's not there. So if I were a senator, I would go, I think we can do better than this, with all due respect. And something that everybody's missing is Caroline Kennedy, which is a fascinating story, if you want to get into that a little while. The two things that people need to take away from this hearing today is it is all a game, as Cuomo says. It's all a game. It's not looking out for you. Trump and Kennedy made a deal. Kennedy said, I will support you, but I'd like some consideration. Trump said, okay. And Trump is a loyal guy. All right? He doesn't hose people like most politicians do. You do him a favor, he'll return a favor. That's what happened.
Stephen A.
Guys, it's a joke, fair enough. But who the hell's laughing? It ain't you two. It ain't me. And it's not the American people. Chris Cuomo said it earlier when he talked about how the number one obligation, the number one issue was the economy. This is Donald Trump that we're talking about here. The man, we have to concede, is a master at trying to spin things. He knows that the economy is the number one issue. He also knows that he can't fix that unilaterally. He's going to need an extensive amount of help. The chances of him getting that are going to be very challenging. So what does he do? He focuses on immigration, and he starts talking about all of these people that need to be arrested. Well, there's millions upon millions upon millions of people that crossed the border illegally over the last 4 years. How many people have been detained and sent away? I think that number's at about 1,000. Are all of these people criminals, as Chris Cuomo talked about earlier? Absolutely not. All of them are not criminal. There are immigrants in this country who are not criminals. Most of them are not criminals. The ones that are the criminals, how many of them are you getting? Oh, by the way, look at where you're getting some of these folks from. You could get them in L.A., you could get them in Florida. You could get them a host of other places where you know they've crossed the border illegally and they're causing all types of trouble. But that's not a good look right now because of the wildfires that's taking place in the second largest state in the country, in California. So we take all of those things into consideration. And why do I bring something like that up? Because it's a distraction. It's an evasive maneuver. It's what Donald Trump does very, very well. And the reason I'm not saying that, Bill, at this particular moment in time, in the negative. See, the Democrats tried to do it too. They just weren't very good at it. He's better at it than them. That's really what this comes down to.
All right, let me just jump in for a minute.
Look at these.
Look,
please.
You guys want information tonight, I'll give it to you. Yes. The reason that Donald Trump said the words Guantanamo Bay, you want to know the reason? I've been there twice. I reported from there twice. Was because he's being very successful in cutting down the so-called migrant interactions with the Border Patrol. In fact, they're down 60% in 10 days. 6-0. Why? Because they're scared. He's scared the people who wanted to come here. Now he's scaring them more with Guantanamo Bay. That's why he's doing it. Economy. Trump is doing exactly what Ronald Reagan did when he took over in 1981 from Jimmy Carter. Exactly. The executive orders on the fossil fuel and ginning up, making it easier for them to operate, will bring down inflation, but it won't bring it down in 10 days. Whereas Trump can succeed on the immigration front in 10 days, but he's going to need a couple of months on the economic stuff. And that is what is happening.
I disagree about the effect of drilling more. The country's never drilled and pumped out more than it is currently. I think it's more complicated than that, but I do believe that he is trying to avoid it because it's harder. And the scrutiny, instead of just going after Trump because what he is or how Elon Musk signals to the crowd, they should be talking about, hey, he's doing a lot, but it's not helping a lot. He froze funding. He doesn't want to cut spending. He froze funding. And now he's got MLK Day that he's going to have to give back. And then he had Medicaid getting shut down in states, and he had to undo that. You know, people think that action must mean good action, and it doesn't always. And you're seeing that in real time. There's plenty to scrutinize. They just have to scrutinize the right things, and the Democrats just keep missing the ball.
They have to scrutinize the right things. The Democrats you keep dropping the ball in terms of pinpointing exactly what to scrutinize. When you listen to some of the stuff that they were talking about in Capitol Hill with a number of the confirmation or a number of confirmation hearings, some of the things they just reminded you of how tone deaf they are. So we get that part about the left. As it pertains to Trump, I think the important thing to recognize and to remember, just from a common American citizen out here, is this. It all comes back to the money. Even when you're talking immigration, it comes back to the money. Because if you have people crossing the borders illegally, okay, there's more people in this country that need to be taken care of. How do you do that without utilizing taxpayer money? You have to utilize taxpayer money in order to make those things happen, which is why you see the ire just basically fomenting and elevating exponentially when it comes to that, because they're looking at it and they're saying, wait a minute, that's our taxpayer money. We don't have money to take care of the desolate and disenfranchised. We don't have enough money to take care of the elderly in this country, but we we got the money to take care of immigrants crossing the border illegally. We got money to throw to Ukraine. We got money to throw all over this world, but we don't have money for the folks right here. That's why he can sit up there and get away with saying America first, America first, America first, and galvanize an enormous amount of people to support him, because in the end, they feel a pinch. They're looking for an excuse, and it's no longer simple enough, and it doesn't suffice enough to just say the government is mishandling things. They're looking for a problem to point to. Trump gives it to them, and as a result, that's why people rally the way that they do for him.
But there's also one other component, Stephen A., that Biden screwed up this country so badly with his policies that are indefensible on immigration and on inflation, the two big ones.
I agree.
That the Democrats have no credibility. They have no credibility. There isn't one Democrat that we can find who objected to the open border policy. Not one. That is stunning.
Well, Bill,
so now the American people tune them out. They're not even listening to them. Look at CNN and MSNBC's ratings.
Right. I'll give you something worse, Bill. You say they have no credibility. It's worse than that. They don't have a voice. Who's the voice?
No
Who
leader.
do you care to hear
leader.
from the Democratic Party? Do you realize at this particular moment in time, you can pick former presidents, you can pick senators, you can pick anybody that you want to. Chris, tell me I'm lying. And I don't mean to, listen, Wes Moore out of Maryland, I think he's a future of the Democratic Party. People should really keep their eyes on him. I think he's fantastic. I loved his prospects. But I'm talking about the people on Capitol Hill. Is there a single solitary voice from the Democratic Party that you care to hear from? You know, they were talking about Kamala Harris possibly running for the gubernatorial seat of California. Do you know what people did when I interviewed them about that? They laughed. They laughed. And they said, ain't gonna happen. Ain't going to happen. You look at some of the other Democrats on the Hill right now.
Will.
Nobody cares to hear from them. Nobody cares to hear from them. They don't have a voice. The Democratic Party needs a new voice. The voices that they've had, as far as I'm concerned, they're fading into the twilight quicker than you can say you guys' name or my own.
You'll get a new generation. The question is the direction. The good thing about Trump is that he creates opportunities. He's doing a lot of things. There are better ideas to be had. The message matters, but the messenger matters even more in politics. I think the Democrats hopefully will remember that lesson. You know, that used to be their advantage. Other than Reagan, the Democrats used to have
let's get to
better
the most
messengers.
important. No. Look at what Reagan did with inflation. That's exactly what Trump is doing. So let's get to the real important stuff.
He also tripled
Who's going to win a Super Bowl? Who's going to win a Super Bowl, Stephen A.? Who's winning? Come on. Who's winning the Super Bowl?
You don't. Well, first of all, it's not my show, so the fact that I'm going to even answer this question is a testament to you, Bill O'Reilly, because normally I wouldn't. I'd answer it on my own show.
That was deft. A deft move.
Since the list is always fluid, and I reserve the right to change my mind, I would tell you, you don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. You don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, but if there was ever a time to do it, it would be this Super Bowl. That's all I'm giving you for the moment.
Stephen A. Smith, you have been talking politics too much. You are a smooth-tongued, non-answer given. You are just like the rest of us. I knew you'd get ruined by this.
No.
I got to save it for ESPN.
He thinks the Chiefs are going to win.
You say the Chiefs win?
What is that?
I got to save it for ESPN, Bill.
That's some foreign network.
I say the Eagles win.
Isn't that some foreign network, ESPN?
Oh, no.
Saquon Barkley, Saquon Barkley gets more than 100
is the
yards.
worldwide leader, and it's the #1 show in the mornings for 13 straight years. Yes, with those dudes.
Right
yes,
on.
we are. Just for the record.
Yeah, you'll have
just
4 to beat me, but you'll do it. If Saquon Barkley gets more than 100 yards, then Philadelphia will win.
Yes.
You heard it.
Saquon
Write it
Barkley
down.
will rush.
Learn it.
Now, there's all these qualifications. Only Cuomo gives a straight call. The Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Okay? There you have it.
Is that emotion talking or football knowledge? Is that emotion talking or football knowledge?
Neither. I don't have great football knowledge, and I feel almost nothing. I'm lucky if I can feel hot and cold.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, I think they're going to win.
I
there it is.
Saquon.
I see a,
Didn't you say
I
the
see
Bills
a new
were going to win
rash
this past
developing
week?
on Cuomo.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, they did. And they beat the Ravens.
You did say the Bills, right?
And your man, Wes Moore, he didn't even call me after it.
Yeah. I know. He's still hurt. He's
The
recovering.
refs are why the Bills lost. The refs lost. If on instant replay, the Bills won the game.
The Bills are why the
They're
Bills
gonna win
lost.
on appeal.
Kincaid's got to catch that pass. Kincaid's got to catch that pass.
2 weeks in a row.
Can't drop that pass.
You know what? That's how life
do
works,
that.
though,
2
fellas.
weeks in a
I got to jump. But 1 week, the Bills won the game because a tight end didn't catch a pass. The next week, they lost the game because a tight end didn't catch a pass. That's how life goes,
Hey,
my brothers.
Bill.
Bill O'Reilly,
Do me a favor.
thank you
Get
for the
up
sagacity.
early, Bill, and watch First Take. Watch First Take on ESPN, Bill.
Hey,
Watch
listen,
First Take. You'll learn even more about
First
sports.
Take. No, I get confused though. I get, when you start to talk about Bronny James and stuff, I'm going, what? What is he saying? So, but no, I understand you.
I don't get confused. I don't get confused. Stephen A. has an ever-expanding empire, and I'm glad to be part of it.
He does, but I wouldn't be going to the Laker game, Stephen A. You're going to get trashed if you go in there. They're going to beat you up.
Oh, please.
So you be careful. Take me
Please.
with you, and everything will be okay.
They love me in L.A. They love me in L.A. I'll be just fine.
Of course they do. Look at the look. Look the look you got right now. You're straight out of there. I mean, the guy's got no weakness in his game.
Fresh haircut.
He's got no weakness. Stephen
haircut.
A., thank you very much. Bill O'Reilly, always a pleasure. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.